Good to be here, Austin, Texas. This is a very prideful city, huh? Got any Proud Boys in the house? Good, good. All right, easy. How about LGBTQ? We in this bitch? Security's locking it down. Fuck yeah, fellas. That's what I'm talking about. No, I'm kidding. You guys can see the mustache, the old dick broom. I'll clean you fellas right up. I just support. I'm only an ally. Truth be told, I get a little jealous of LGBTQ. I am marching right now. I should start by saying that. I get a little jealous. I'm jealous of all this pride they're slinging around. I'm a straight white male. I can't. If I had pride in any one of my categories, I'd be an asshole. White pride? That's a Nazi. Male pride, misogynist. Straight pride, though. Secretly gay every time. I never fall for it. I don't know if you guys can tell by looking at me. I have an impeccable gaydar. Second to none. Great power comes great responsibility. You fellas are okay. I'm not going to expose anyone here tonight. But I could. Just know I could. I'm so good that if a gay guy and a straight guy were doing like a synchronized hip-hop dance side by side, I could still tell you who the gay guy is. And that's because almost every time, it's been the dude that let me suck his dick. It's not that hard. Well, the penis was, but the identification portion, piece of cake. So, any Texans in the house? Usually like a gun shop, but I'll take that woo, brother. I'll take that right to the bank. You guys are fired. This is the only state where I've been honked at by the car in front of me. I didn't think that was a slow burner, but all right. Nah, man, I love Texans. Texans seem to love me because I'm a veteran. I get a lot of respect for that out here. Thank you. All right. Till you find out I'm from California. Yeah, apparently I go from an American hero to a gay communist. Fucking insane, dude. I was in the military for 7 years, fellas. Walked away with a little PTS dizzle, It's just a dash. It's fine. I go to therapy. Well, not anymore, because I read an article that said mushrooms help with PTSD, so been slapping those suckers back. My God, is it getting worse. Turns out loud noises much scarier when they come from a dragon. I didn't know. No, mushrooms, they're fun. They just mess with my brain. Like the other day, I saw a train with graffiti on it, and I thought to myself, how the fuck did he keep up with that thing? It's a perfect penis. I can't even do that sitting down. I said that joke last night, and some lady yelled out, "It's because they do it when the train stops." Oh, really? Then why have I never seen graffiti on an airplane? They stop. Riddle me that, bitch. I guess we're all on the same page there. I don't know. We're all losing our minds. I got a call from my dad today. He's fucking losing it. He was like, I don't know, Matty. Starting to forget things a little bit. I think I have early onset dementia. Dude, you're 77. This is on-time dementia. You senile fuck. Yeah, he just figured out Uber like last week, so now he thinks he has his own personal limousine service. It's incredible. I was gonna take him to the grocery store. He was like, don't even worry about it, Matty. We'll just call one of the boys. Fuck you building a rapport with these people, dude. I'm losing my mind too, man. I keep falling asleep to these true crimes. Usually the white ladies give me a woo, but the black ladies were like, no, son. We watched that Dahmer dog. We know what happens. And I'm with you. Listen, you got to be careful. I watch too much of it. It's like changing the way I live my life. Like, I don't even take my dog on walks anymore. We go on patrols now. Hot on every case. We haven't solved a single fucking mystery. You guys aren't going to like this, but thanks to these true crimes, I get a little fired up when these Amber Alerts come through, huh? Just me. All right. This entire room looking at me like I'm the psycho. That's fine. Just understand that when you all drive home with your tunnel vision tonight, Big Daddy's looking for the silver Malibu. All right? So I will be following you gentlemen back to the lot tonight, all right? My fucking eyes peeled, gentlemen. No, it's all good. It's all good. It's all good, dude. I don't know. People keep telling me I need to become a little more cultured. I think that's fair. So I've been doing that. It's not even the joke, dude. I've been doing some traveling, you know? Went to Dallas recently. They're not as loosey-goosey as we are up there. Yeah, I guess that's what happens when you let a president get murdered in broad daylight. Probably gotta tighten it up a little bit, you know? And again, I went to the scene of the crime, did some investigating. He got shot. Working on a theory, though. You know, the building that the shots were fired from is a museum now, so I did what we would all do. I got a little high and I went. Bad move. Yeah, I walked into this place fucking activated. So right off the bat, I can't even decipher who this museum's in honor of. Is this JFK or Lee Harvey? What's going on? Hey, if you haven't been, they don't make it clear. The third thing I saw is a picture of Lee Harvey Oswald in his marine dress blues, quite frankly, looking like a fucking snack. Him with a little salute, dude. Anyways, I get to the window, and I'm looking out this thing. They have a little video display there. It shows the route Kennedy was on and exactly where he was when he got shot. And I'm watching it, surrounded by people, so fucking high, that out loud I say, I'm gonna be honest. It's not the shot I would have took. Yeah, not one person had my back, dude. It just blows me away, man. JFK was just in Dallas for the day, you know? Gone. Greg Abbott fucking lives here. Okay, minus this side of the room, this entire city wants him dead. It's pretty brave for a guy who's already half assassinated. Got one, 12 more to go.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, and welcome to the Vanguard. I am Matt Wright, and with me today is Matty Stu, comedy out of Austin, Texas. And together, he and I are going to be traversing the muddied waters of freedom. Matty, how are you today, buddy?
Traversing the muddy waters of freedom. That's quite the responsibility.
It is, yes. When we are going to be traversing these muddied waters of freedom, and it is on you and me to get to the other side together.
By the way, you have a great radio intro voice.
Thank you.
Fantastic. Wonderful. Yeah, I mean, you really brought the energy there. The only thing, maybe a couple air horn noises, something
right.
Stuff like that. Other than that, right.
Yeah, I need to work on all of that together to get all the sounds and everything. But yeah, we're getting there.
We'll coach you up, man. We got you.
Hell yeah. So Matty, tell and do you prefer? I should have asked you before. Do you prefer Matt, Matty, Matthew?
Matt for you can call me Matt. I like Matt.
Okay.
Matty's fine. I have this. I really don't care, to be honest with you.
So I'm a Matt, as you know, and I hate Matthew. That's like I hate Matthew, and I've never been a fan of Matty. But like, there's like 6 people in the world that they can call me Matty, and I'm like, yeah, whatever. That's kind of, you're cute. That's cool.
Yeah. It's tough to not say Matthew without feeling like you're referencing the Bible.
Or I'm in trouble.
For sure. And then there's 11 Matts in my immediate life, so I had to do something. It's a boring. I mean, we got. It's not the best. It's not the best. We can just say it
right.
It is. But,
right.
It's a solid one. There's worse ones.
So you are from Connecticut, as we recently discovered. You're from Connecticut, and you now live in Austin, Texas. You are a stand-up comedian. I saw you perform at Sunset Strip. ATX. That was how we met. You had a great set. And I'm pretty certain that's the same set that we have at the beginning of this episode. That we show at the beginning of this episode. More or less. I remembered most of the jokes.
Yeah. I think it's a similar one, similar time frame.
Right. Yeah. I think that was about a month apart.
Yeah.
So how long ago did you move to Austin?
I moved to Austin. It's coming up on 3 years this summer. Nice. I moved here from Arizona, where I was on a wildland fire crew. I was on a saw module for the summer, just tearing down trees. Before that, I was living in Virginia. I was in the Navy.
Okay, where were you down Norfolk area?
No, I was in Virginia Beach area. Yeah, that is the same thing. I don't know why.
Yeah. I was like, isn't that? Yeah. I grew up in Virginia, so I was like, wait, there's two. There's the one in Norfolk and there's the one in Arlington.
Yeah, no, I was at it was Virginia Beach. It was the Naval Expeditionary Base.
Okay.
So it's not the Norfolk Naval Yard or whatever. But yeah,
gotcha.
same area.
Same area.
I lived right in Chesapeake Bay. It was a great time.
Very cool. Very, very cool. So you're part of the Navy, and thank you for your service and all that. So one of the reasons that I wanted to bring you on is because when we were talking, you said that you had an interest in, you wanted to kind of explore RFK Jr., not the other one because he's dead, but you wanted to explore RFK Jr. and just.
I'm a huge fan of his father.
Yeah, are you?
I am, but we'll stick to the current one. We'll stick to the living one.
I was like, good. I didn't bone up on RFK Senior, so.
Yeah, I mean, accent aside, I was able to understand his father a little better, though it'd be tough. What do they call that? What do they call the JFK? There's a word for it. That old Boston accent that they.
Yeah, I always called it the New England accent, the New Englander accent. The ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country.
We go because it's hard.
Yeah,
exactly.
Dropping that R. It's there's a reason that my dog is named Fenway. And it's because Boston accents are sexy. So that I'm a huge Red Sox fan. But yeah, so let's so RFK Jr. RFK Jr. He right now is roughly polling rate 15-20%, depending on which polls you're reading, which polls you believe. Hard to say because polling is difficult. And I believe personally that he has the greatest chance since Ross Perot to really kind of upend a presidential election. Now, are you a big RFK Jr. fan, or were you more of a Kennedy fan?
More of a Kennedy fan. I think actually, if I may, I have a bust of JFK right here. Big fan, huge fan.
That. Yeah, look at that. Yeah.
Never really identified as a Democrat. Always kind of been a independent. I'm registered as an independent party,
right?
Which is more so my interest behind RFK that it is, like you said, since Perot. I mean, he's a real threat. Trump seems to it looks like he feels threatened by the guy. He's, according to his website, at least.
Right.
And, but I don't know. I'm more interested in I feel like now more than ever, there seems to be a general push and interest for an independent, for more than a two-party system. And I feel like anyone you talk to seems to be in the middle. At least as a comedian who goes around, fellow comedians on stage, there's not many people that are just pushing one straight agenda. It feels like the media, right, is two sides, but when you talk to people, everyone seems to be right down the middle. And I feel like right now is a good, I don't know, is it a good crack in the
is it a crack in the armor? Is the armor finally breaking? Yeah, I don't know. So I've been working for a little bit of backstory on me. I started working with the Libertarians back in 2013, 2014 for special elections and stuff. So before presidential elections, I was working for a special election here in Florida for a House race. And I started working with Libertarians on that. And everybody that we spoke to then, it was kind of the same thing because media is media. Outside of people like you, like I told you when we met in Austin, I'm not saying that comedians are like the modern day philosophers, and I'm not saying the podcasters who talk about politics online are either, but we are the first line of defense in talking about stuff that everybody's talking about as opposed to what the media wants us to talk about. And I started noticing that back in 2013, everybody kind of had things that they wanted to talk about, but it was strictly, everybody only talked about what the media wanted, which is how this kind of idea of Muddied Waters Media came about, because we wanted to talk about the stuff that everybody was talking about, not just, right now, if this was a normal show, I'd be talking about Iran and them bombing or attempting to bomb Israel, and the fallout of that. And are we going to World War III? We're not, but we won't get into it. But that would be where we would be talking about. But instead, I wanted it to be about talking about everything else, because it's in those areas that I think the most agreement can be found. And I think that the people back in 2013 to today, the vast majority of people are still interested in that middle area, like you're saying, like the comedians that you talk to, and the crowds that you get to see every day. Those are the people. Those are the people that are, they're in the middle, and they know what it is that they are most interested in. And the media tries to focus us one way or another, which is why they are trying to turn this into Trump and his convictions, abortion, Joe Biden being barely sentient, and Iran versus Israel versus Palestine. Like that's the election, and they're going to try to, and the border. Like that's going to be it. They're going to do that. A little bit on the economy, but Joe Biden's going to say it's a strong economy. Trump's going to say, look at the wallet. Look at your wallet. Are you better off? That's just going to be it.
Yeah.
Where I like RFK in some aspects, I like some of the stuff he talks about. I don't agree with him on a lot, which is why I'm excited to talk to you about this. But the idea of third parties is such a fun one, especially third party candidates. Because, like we said, Ross Perot, 18.5%, I think, if I'm remembering correctly, in the popular vote nationwide back in 1992, and nobody has come close since. And the question
and what do you believe? You think RFK Jr., do you think he's at 15? Do you think that's where he's sitting?
I think he's a little bit above 15 right now. If I had to guess, he's a little bit above 15. So he should be able to make it into the debates if they have debates. I also don't think they're going to have debates this round.
And that's what the people need, man. That's what we want. When Trump was running again, I went straight to the debates. He's the Conor McGregor of debates. He might lose an election. He will not lose a debate. He might lose in the octagon, but he does not lose at the press conference. And that's
true.
I mean, great for Conor.
That's a great way to put that. God, that's a good way to put that.
To see Trump call RFK Jr. the Marlboro Man in front of thousands of people. I mean, the world needs it. Comedy needs it, but that's not your question. I'm just saying we need, for the sake of comedy, the world needs that. That is a sitcom. I mean, look, I'm not a Republican, but when Trump called Kim Jong-un the little rocket man.
Oh yeah.
I'm listening. I'm listening. You got me. You got me right where you want me as a voter.
Okay, again, not Republican, not Democrat. I don't really believe in government at all anymore. But back in 2016, when he put out Lindsey Graham's phone number, and he's like, he gave me his phone number, said if I ever had a job for him, I'd give him a call. And he gave me his phone number, and he read the phone number out loud, and I was just like, he just doxed this man's phone. Like, Lindsey Graham's phone is useless at this point.
Here's the thing: anti-dox, pro big balls. Kind of a big ball move, dude. You kind of want, you want to look at your president as your father or your mother. Look, we can go either way, but you want to look at him as a strong parent. And I want my father to have a pair of nuts on him. I want my mother to have a steel vagina.
Right.
And that's how people say they vote for who they want to have the beer with. I think about those things.
Yeah, no, that's a good way to put it. That's a good way to put it. People want to vote for who they want to have a beer with. And I mean, I know I would not want to have a beer with Joe Biden. No,
it'd be very early. I don't like having beer when the sun's too high in the sky. You'd have to meet him at like 11 a.m. or 12. What am I going to have a scone with a Bud Light? That just doesn't make sense. I mean, if we're doing mimosas, that makes sense. The early bird special, he's in that bitch.
Right.
Then we're talking some well-deserved vitamin C that he clearly needs that they're not giving him. I don't know what they're giving him. It seems like they're giving him speed. Maybe some vitamins would be great. But anyways, I think what you were saying earlier, I feel like middle America right now is really this might sound cliche. You remember that Oliver Anthony song that dropped, "The Ginger in the Woods"?
Yeah,
That guy.
Ginger.
Look, he had some points. It's not original. I loved that people were saying that this is the first time that like an artist is speaking about the government. I mean, black people have been doing this for years. I don't know why it's so revolutionary when a white guy does it. You put him in the woods, we stroke him off. But this guy, he had a point. Like
he
did. I think that the higher government, the deep state, or whatever have you, I'm not too into conspiracies, but they think we're all stupid, and it's the middle America. Politics too is a lot. I'm doing my best to sound intelligent. It's probably not coming across.
No, you're doing great.
I put everything in layman's, and I feel like politics is a lot like sports. Like middle America are the only people that really pay attention to sports. They're the huge fans, but they can't afford the tickets. For some reason, basketball games, football games are accommodated to the rich. And that's exactly what politics are. Who needs it the most? Middle America. But it's not for us. I mean, government isn't for it. We're the pawns. Poor people, I feel like, are more important in the scheme of things, the ditch diggers, for at least the people that are keeping the money in their pockets up top. We're all just supposed to fall in line.
Yeah, that's one of the big reasons that I am not a government person. Like, I am more for community.
By the way, I would say I consider myself middle America. Their tax bracket would indicate I'm far below that, but I put myself to an emotional tax bracket.
I understand what you're saying there quite well, actually. I'm a libertarian podcaster. I don't make a lot of money.
No. Rich in spirit.
Right. I'm rich in ideas and friends. And even that second one's.
A lot of acquaintances.
Yeah, tons of acquaintances. I met really great people throughout this country.
Yeah.
But that's why I'm more community based. I think personally, I can get more done talking to the people in my neighborhood to be like, hey, how do we fix this issue that we have right here, than I can voting for somebody who's going to go up to Washington, D.C. and argue for, maybe for my point. Yeah,
absolutely. Right here in my neighborhood in Austin, Texas, this is kind of messed up, dude. So I live in what is the historic black neighborhood. Clearly it's been gentrified, but there's some people that have held out, that just get stacks of letters by the man, and they say, F you, I'm keeping my house. They're still here. If you look on the map, this neighborhood is called Blackland. Pretty dicey. They kind of pushed them all to one area, but here I am. I'm a man of the people, dude. Anyways.
Sorry, I have to look up Blackland.
Yeah, look it up, dude. Blackland in Austin, Texas. I'm hoping it pops up and I don't just sound like bullshit.
There is about Blackland Neighborhood Community Center.
And based off my neighbors, I could assume why they named it that. But I'm happy to be here. The culture is strong. We got a basketball court, and I'm well accepted, man.
It's a black neighborhood.
That was the joke.
Okay.
Would you think I was going to reference the playground?
Yeah.
No, I went for the court.
Yeah, my bad.
But no, but yeah, there's a newsletter. There's a monthly newsletter that gets dropped off. I don't know who's making this, but the Blackland Miracle. It gets dropped off at my doorstep every month, and we have polls. We have like communal messages, what you think the community needs, what we're doing. They're giving updates for this neighborhood. And but you're right. It's like people coming together is what get things done in America. It's been proven.
That is the biggest one. And so, like, back in '92, I don't know how old you are. Do you care if I ask?
30 years old. Just turned 50 last month.
Okay, so happy belated. So back in '92,
brush over that. I'm glad you got to it. Thank you.
Yeah. When in March?
No, I fucked up. It was February 25th.
Oh, okay. All right. So my birthday is my birthday's in March. So you actually saw me the day after my birthday.
And I knew. But I'm a day of guy, or don't do it at all.
Right. No, that's fair. I appreciate that. So back in '92, when Ross Perot ran, he was the crazy Texan. He was the crazy Texan billionaire, whatever he was.
That gets people. That gets America's attention. The word Texan, once you slap that on there, people for some reason are paying attention.
They do. They do, especially Texans in wheelchairs. People really pay attention to that guy right now. But he was out there and he was all wacky and funny. He had that weird accent, and he's like, "Not gonna do it, not gonna do it."
Right.
And and that was more Bush. But yeah, he was just like this fun character, and like and the ideas that he was talking about and the stuff that he was saying, he was like, because NAFTA was a big thing at the time. He's like, "You're gonna hear this giant sucking sound coming from Mexico," and he was right. Like he called what was going to happen. All of the jobs left America and it went down there, but Middle America took notice and they were like, "Man, we like this guy." And the two-party system, the Republicans and the Democrats, they went, "You know what? Screw it. Let's let this guy on the debate stage because he is polling abnormally well for one of these third-party nut jobs. So let's put him on the debate stage." And so he was on, and I don't remember his VP. I don't remember his VP pick, Admiral something. But he was kind of the crackpot. Like the VP pick was the crackpot, and he didn't make a lot of sense in the debate. But Ross Perot really was able to get out and speak to people the same way that RFK can. The same way that RFK can. And many people, Republicans and Democrats and independents, will say that if Ross Perot was not in that race, George Bush wins re-election and we never have the Clintons. So he kind of changed the entire course of the nation by being in that race. And so after the 1992 election, the Republicans and the Democrats got together and they created the commission, the Fair Debates Commission, the FDC. And it's in order to make sure that everybody can get a chance to be in the debates together. And the rules were going to be set up by the Republicans and the Democrats.
Right.
And they set up the rules in order to make sure that nobody else can reach the ability to make it onto the debate stage. And those rules have been in place since 1993. And it's a sliding set of rules.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like the stock market. I mean, it's the rich billionaires, it's the guys that control it all, creating laws to help.
Right. It's the two major parties being like, okay, how do we do it where we're like, okay, we're making it the Commission of Fair Debates. I don't remember what it's called exactly, but that's what it is. It's the Republicans and the Democrats. And they're like, okay, we're going to make it fair for everybody to be in these debates, but we're going to make it impossible for people to get into the debates.
I hate to keep drawing parallels every time, but this is, again, it's the stock market, and RFK Jr. is GameStop, and the people we're ready to short them, we're ready to load up.
Right.
And then, but they'll just cut it right at the knees. So because a couple months back, RFK Jr. just called out Biden. I mean, not called out, but he said we should debate.
Yeah.
Now, isn't that just why haven't we seen why? Like, isn't that just standard?
Okay, well, so yeah, that's standard. Like the third party candidates have been doing that. Like, so the Libertarian candidate back in 2020 was a woman named Jo Jorgensen. We don't talk about her. We can talk about the VP pick, Spike Cohen, because Joe was awful. And in 2016, it was Gary Johnson. 2012 was Gary Johnson. And they were always like, hey, why won't you let us debate? Why won't you let us debate? And
Gary Johnson, a libertarian, who he made a splash, right? That was the Trump-Clinton election.
Yeah, that was the Trump-Clinton election.
Yeah. I remember this guy.
Yeah, Gary he was also in the 2012 when it was Obama versus Romney.
Were you lobbying for Gary? Were you a big Gary guy?
I was in 12. I was a big Gary guy. In 2016, I wasn't as big of a Gary guy because I'd been in the party a little bit and I'd met some of the people that were running. And I was there's this guy out of Missouri named Austin Peterson. And I was more in his camp. But after Gary got nominated, I was like, all right, well, I mean, I'm supporting him over these two idiots, over the murderer.
I'm sorry if I'm splashing too much all over the place here.
No, you're good.
But is Joe Biden declining, or I guess the Democratic Party, whoever spoke on behalf of this, declining the debates? Is that an infringement on any type of candidate?
No, so So they haven't stated that they're not going to do the debates, but what I believe is going to happen, and you can take this to the bank because I'm usually right on these things. Donald Trump didn't debate during the Republican primaries because he was like, why would I debate? I'm in the lead. You're just going to be coming after me. Because he didn't debate in the primaries in order to get nominated to become the next, to become the nominee to run for president again, Joe Biden is going to say, well, you weren't willing to debate. Why should I debate you? And then Trump will come at him and he goes, well, and then Joe Biden will respond with, I'm not going to debate somebody who tried to cause an insurrection or whatever. And I don't want to share a stage with somebody who tried to overthrow our government or something along those lines. And Trump is going to actually be okay with this because the more that Trump stays out of headlines, the better he's going to do. When he's in headlines, that's when he starts dipping. Right now, the only things he's in headlines for are the different criminal trials. And a lot of people see many of the criminal trials as witch hunts. So it's actually boosting him in polls. So the less he's out there actually campaigning, the better he's going to do in the polls. Now,
And this can only be hurting Joe Biden.
It's all hurting Joe Biden. Everything right now is like you're in Texas, so you know about everything going on at the border. And I don't know how accurate what is being portrayed in the media is actually happening. But I know that it is not playing well across the board. 77 out of 10 Democrats have said that Joe Biden is failing at the border, which is fucking awful for a Democratic president. The Israeli Palestine issue, he's getting so much pushback on that. He was trying to get Israel to do a ceasefire, and the best he had for Iran was to say, don't. And then Iran did, and now it's like, okay, well, now what are you going to do? So he's going to appear.
Well, to be fair, Biden had more to say, but that was just he that's all he can get out in one breath was don't. But there was a longer sentence.
There was a longer, yeah. He forgot what the rest of it was, and he wandered off. So, and the other issue is the Republicans and the Democrats don't technically pick who their nominee is until August. The Republican convention is August 7th, I believe, and the Democrat convention is August 14th, where they officially nominate. So the debates would happen between August 14th and November, whatever that first Tuesday in November is. So that would be the time period in which the debates would happen. But the debates aren't as time tested as a tradition as like we've come to think they are. The first debates didn't happen until 1960 with Kennedy and Nixon. Your boy Kennedy.
All time, by the way.
Yeah. That was the very first presidential debate. Like the primaries had debates, like the Democratic primaries had debates and the Republican primaries had debates, but that was the first time that the Republicans and the Democrats sat down and had a debate on radio, on TV, anywhere, in order so the nation could decide. And then it became a tradition after 1960. So it's not
I can't thought it. I remember Bush and Kerry going after it. I mean, I was in high school when I was a young Navy sailor when Trump and Clinton were going after it. And I mean, it was just, again, those were UFC fights. You were tuning in. The world was tuning in. If it's not good for anything, it's good for numbers. Someone can make money. I mean, networks need to hop on.
When Clinton and Trump were going at it and she was talking and he was just leaning in, wrong. I was just like, yes. This is the best TV there is. And
now like Joe Rogan has made for the last presidential election, he offered both Trump and Biden to come on for a long form. Yeah. He would obviously mitigate it, whatever it's called. But that's you're never going to get that. You're always going to get softball questions. And isn't it always one news network who's running it? These debates?
So usually what they do for the presidential debates is they'll do like one on Fox News, they'll do one on CNN, and they'll do one on ABC or something like that, or MSNBC. Like they'll have a contract with multiple, but it's one debate on each that they can simulcast to everywhere else. So like if
Okay.
CNN's doing it, it's going to be this like Anderson. I think Anderson Cooper still. I don't even know who's still on CNN. Anderson Cooper would be one of the moderators, and then somebody else would they would pick people from CNN to be the moderators to ask the questions. If
Perhaps
ABC's doing, he's not there anymore. He got fired.
No, I know.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
about it.
Yeah,
You're not supposed to. My apologies.
man, I'm sorry. I'm stepping all over your jokes. I feel so bad.
No, you're good. You're good, bro. No, you're fine. They're not high class jokes. They'll see. They're okay. But so you don't think Trump is just like frothing at the mouth to just slam dunk on RFK Jr.? Even though I don't think that's how it would play out. I think RFK would sit in the box and hit him with some uppercuts. Verbal, of course.
Right. Well, yeah.
Although, again, simple-minded guy. If you really want, why don't we just go gladiator style and give? Obviously, Trump. He's a little older. We can give him a weapon, maybe like a staff.
I would I've been a fan of this idea for a while. If you put Trump, Biden, and RFK Jr. and we already know who's winning. I've seen RFK work out.
Oh, man can toss iron.
Yeah, the man can lift.
And again, if you don't understand how many first time frat boy voters are going to see that and just be, this is my guy.
This is my guy.
Yeah, also, he's doing the throwback like Kennedy commercials.
That Super Bowl commercial.
So good.
That was amazing.
Yeah, I think that's the commercial JFK used.
Yeah. It was slightly updated. Yeah, it was so good.
Also, America, we talk about these secrets. We have an opportunity for them to come out. If you don't think he's not, I mean, first of all, CIA, bye-bye if RFK Jr.'s in there. We are disbanding.
Oh, CIA, FBI gone, which would be amazing.
That would be great.
Right now, according to The Hill, thehill.com, it says that RFK was polling not long ago at 20%, but right now he's only at 7.7 nationwide, which I don't.
And how are they that's another thing that confuses me. Okay. How are they getting these numbers? I didn't fill anything out.
Right. So, no, because most of this is done on landlines, just so you know. So
it's the calling. Yeah. That's still effective. Okay, so none of these numbers mean anything.
Right. So it's like as of April 7th through April 10th, the New York Times Siena poll has Biden at 42, Trump at 40, Kennedy at 2. But over the same time period, ActiVote has Trump at 44, Biden at 40, and Kennedy at 15. So
yeah. That doesn't feel like that one kind of feels pretty accurate to me.
Yeah.
Whether or not
the TIPP, which is actually one that I kind of like, they have Trump at 38, Biden at 38, and Kennedy at 11. And that one kind of feels pretty. That one feels pretty normal. Rasmussen, which is typically conservative leaning, has Trump at 45, Biden at 38, Kennedy at 9. So it's like you kind of get an idea of it.
Kennedy took a shot at Trump this week.
Yeah.
What was it? It was in regards to. Oh, he was saying that Trump asked him to be his VP.
Oh, did he really?
Yeah, he was saying he was approached during Trump's candidacy or when he was running for him to be VP because Trump said something about he would. I don't know what he said about RFK. It was a rebuttal to something that Trump said about him. He's like, "Oh, if I suck so bad, why'd you ask me to be your vice president?" You seen
RFK
this?
Says Trump allies asked him to be VP. Yeah, 8 hours ago. I missed that today.
Yeah, dude. I don't know how I got that one.
Yeah.
I don't know who's filling who in.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I respectfully decline the offer. I am against President Trump, and President Biden can't win. Judging by his new website, it looks like President Trump knows who can beat him because his website is basically saying, Kennedy. And
I don't know if this is public opinion or if this is just something I heard him say. Maybe you can just tell me if you agree with it or not, but he had just stated, because he originally was running as a Democrat.
Right.
And he was saying, I'm running, and I thought this was cool. He was like, I'm running as the old school Democratic Party, the Democrat that didn't fund wars, the Democrats that, didn't put social issues above everything else, yada, yada, all that stuff. And I was just kind of like trying to put the timeline in play, but I don't know. Can you draw a picture of when the Democratic Party drastically transformed to what it is today? Because I don't.
I can. Okay, so I can kind of give you an overview. So like,
Because every dad I know will tell me that they voted for Clinton, and then after that, never again.
right.
Or maybe it was, I don't know, but every dad flipped. Every dad I know flipped at one point.
Yeah. So okay. So we'll go back to Kennedy because he's actually a really great point. He's a great point in time because he was considered a pretty radical Democrat back in 1960. He got passed one of the largest tax cuts in American history. He did send people over to Vietnam. So by today's standards, this man is not a Democrat. He is a Republican by today's standards. But he wasn't. He absolutely was not a Democrat. He believed in conserving stuff. He wanted to get rid of the mafia. He wanted to get rid of corruption. So he was a Democrat by the actual Democratic standards. LBJ kind of started things in a more progressive route, which is really weird because LBJ was not a progressive person. He was a racist son of a bitch, and apparently he had a huge hog that he would whip out in the Oval Office and just show to people.
Heard this. I've heard about LBJ's dick. Pringle can lint, they call them.
Yeah.
I made that up. I don't know.
That could be true. I don't know if Pringles were a thing back then, but I was just going to go with it because apparently it was just...
bad design. They were just actually the cans designed after Johnson's cock.
Right. And so LBJ passed the Civil Rights Act of 1964. And when he passed the Civil Rights Act of 1964, there is an urban legend that what he stated, which I won't state exactly the way he said it because it's 2020.
Yeah, soft egg, please. Soft egg, please.
Right. But he said, signing this means that the Black people will vote for us for the next, I've heard 50 years, 200 years, 100 years, like for the next however long.
Okay, so isn't that what they're doing with the border today? Trying to let all these illegal immigrants come in so they can vote one way. Or is that a conspiracy? That's just something I hear. I don't know how.
So it's the same idea. It's the same idea, which that's why a lot of Republicans are stating that we need to have ID to vote, and you need to have a government ID to vote, and that's why some places like California says you don't have to prove you're an American citizen to get a government ID. So that's kind of what the idea is in many of these places, or that you don't like. I think Texas, you don't need an ID to vote, which blows my mind because I'm here in Florida. I'm here in Florida, and I absolutely need an ID to vote. But so it's the same similar thing. And then once you got into the 80s, things started shifting. If you take a look at the 1980 debates between George Bush Sr. And Ronald Reagan, they were talking about illegal immigrants, and they were not talking about them the way that Republicans talk about illegal immigrants today. They were like, these are people, they deserve humanity, they deserve kindness, we should be welcoming them into this country. And that is not something you're hearing as a talking point from Republicans 20 years later from George Bush's own son, who delivered the largest Hispanic voting bloc for the Republicans ever. He was saying, nope, send them back. But the people who have been coming over here legally, typically are voting more and more conservative. And they're like, no, screw those people trying to come over here and get what I work so hard for. Put up the wall. Like that, you're seeing that a lot with people.
Yeah. No one wants the wall more than the immigrants. The
legal immigrants, right? The ones who are here. There's a number of people that I've seen on Kill Tony that do not want that wall up because they admit freely that they are not legal.
Yeah. Yeah.
But with
Interesting.
so like the Democrats today, they have been successfully moving left since the 60s. And people blame like Saul Alinsky. Saul Alinsky, if you don't, do you know who Saul Alinsky is?
Of course, he's the Ukrainian president.
No.
He's a comedian too. He's very funny.
Yeah, very funny. So Saul Alinsky was a progressive. He was a Democrat progressive warrior back in the 1960s, and he wrote a bunch of books. Barack Obama befriended him, and to what level he befriended him, who really knows? Because we all know about Obama's predilections for men.
Big Mike.
But he wrote how to change an entire. He wrote steps on how to change an entire narrative and get the world shifting further left. And they've been kind of following that. The Democrats have been following that playbook. They've been putting people in schools. You know, like all of the public schools have, more liberal teachers. You know, the colleges and universities, pretty much 95% of the educators are liberal. So that's what they're starting to teach kids. And they're saying, this is what we need. This is what we need in order to get people to believe that from an educational standpoint early on. And then instead of preaching, capitalism or free markets or anything like that, they say, this is capitalism destroyed this. We need to go back to central planning. We need to go back to government controlled, and government's been slowly taking everything away. And the Republicans are just as much to blame for this as the Democrats are, which is why I'm 100% not a fan of either one of the parties. But both sides have been kind of going after, just slight government control here, slight government control here, slight government control here, where government has just been turning into this massive bloated blob of just shit. And we, the people in the middle, people who are like, okay, I'm having trouble buying groceries. Gas is what's gas in Austin right now? I don't know.
Oh, it's I don't know either, honestly. It's like it's 249, 259.
Oh, Jesus, really? Man, it's 350 here.
Making up a number here. I gotta be
honest. All right. But yeah, so like they're trying to make it where both sides, but the Democrats more so, are trying to make it where you are more reliant upon government day in and day out. They don't want you spending money on cars. They want you on public transportation. They don't want you to be able to like here in Florida. I don't know the laws in Texas, obviously, but here in Florida, I have to be connected either to the power grid or to the water grid. I cannot be completely off of the grid. It's illegal. Like if I wanted to collect my own water, like rainwater, and I wanted to do solar, some other form, that is 100% illegal in the state of Florida.
Yeah, I don't know about Texas. I got a buddy that says he's doing that in Colorado, but I think he's just in a halfway house. I think he had a crack problem. So I don't think he's living off the grid. I think this is what you say when you're what you're really doing.
Hunter Biden?
Yeah, no, the person I'm talking about is trying to get help for his problems. No, I'm not talking about Hunter Biden. Hunter likes to party. Hey, listen, that's the guy I'll get a beer with, dude. Are you kidding? I mean, you're getting picked up at a party bus if you're going out with Hunter. That's not
true.
A casual dinner. It's a fun time. Say what you will about that guy. If my dad was the president, I'm doing drugs in the Oval Office.
Yeah, no, yeah, yes, and I'm going.
He's living his best life, dude.
I am probably going to pick up.
He's the Lindsay Lohan of this bitch, dude.
Right.
He's out there. He's a hot girl energy. Hunter Biden has hot girl energy.
Right, he does have. He's got hot girl energy without the other parts that are necessary. Yeah. But like it's been a slow push that you have seen. Like even during the Clinton days, you were seeing it where. They were trying to go for more of a socialized healthcare that got the Republican Congress at the time was like, no, we're not doing this. And they pushed it away. They were like, nope, not going to happen. And that ended up coming into play with Obama, which ended up making it where health insurance was much more expensive. It cost more for your average person. Many of the people were like, oh, look, I'm getting it for $20 a month thanks to Obamacare. Didn't realize that at the end of the year that was coming back to them on taxes, and they were going to have to owe money in taxes later. It's been
where's the libertarian stance on universal healthcare? Because that, like, to me, gets grouped with socialism.
Yeah, no, it is. We libertarians believe pretty much across the board that you as an individual do not have the right to the work of anybody else. Nobody is entitled to give you any service that they are giving for any reason. And if you do ask for a service, you need to pay for that service unless you work out some other barter deal, which is also fine in our world. But the issue with healthcare is, in fact, government and insurance companies, because insurance companies make it where everything's bloated because they're like, okay, we're going to charge you these premiums. You may use it, you may not use it, but we need to continue to do this. And in order to, and hospitals are like, okay, well, we need to get as much money from the insurance companies as we can because they're going to fight us at every turn in paying us. So hospitals, they blow up the number of what things cost, which is why you get like a pack of Kleenex for $70 at a hospital stay because they're charging the insurance company. If you come in afterwards and you say, hey, I don't have insurance, I'm going to be paying cash, you can negotiate that number so far down, and that would be so much closer to what the actual number would be. And if you weren't dealing with bureaucratic red tape from insurance companies and bureaucratic red tape through Obamacare now, and then different state issues that you have going on, healthcare would not be as expensive as we see it today. Instead, you would be able to say, you'd be able to come up to your doctor and be like, hey, how much is it? And you'd be able, I do this for $30 an hour or whatever. If you wanted to stay at the hospital, you would negotiate with the hospital and you'd be like, how much is it to stay overnight? And it would not be those thousands upon thousands upon thousands of dollars. It would be a much lower number, but because of insurance companies and because of government bureaucracies, red tape, whatever you want to call it, those numbers have all been padded in order to make sure that those people's salaries are being paid.
I see. You guys are an under the table type of people. Well, I guess you're not a libertarian anymore. I don't want to put you in that.
So it's not even an under the table kind of person. It's like, I'll pay you over the table. I'd just rather do it me to you. I'd rather do it me to you as opposed to what we call.
Having some, bro. You're breaking up a little right now. I don't know if it's like a microphone problem or Wi-Fi. But that last sentence was tough to hear.
I'm sorry. My dog just ran through here.
Yeah, you're a little inaudible right now.
Okay, can you hear me?
Oh, we're back, baby.
All right. Yep.
Back.
I think that when he came through, he grabbed the cord a little bit and nudged it.
That'll happen.
Yeah. He's just a dog wanting to go to the bathroom. He'll be fine. But so, I would rather the transaction happen me to you. I shouldn't have to call Aetna and you shouldn't have to call your billing department to be like, hey, get as much money out of this insurance company that you can because we just had 14 people not pay.
Yeah,
because that's where a lot of the issue is coming in. If it's just me and you dealing with it, you could be like, okay, let's work out a payment plan. Great, I'll give you $100 a month for the next 10 months, and we'll.
But if it's just me to you, then I can't lie about my insurance and hang up on debt collectors. So that's the issue for me.
Right. Well, there wouldn't be insurance, so there'd be no need to lie about it.
Damn it. Yeah, but that's the fun part. That is the fun part. I like feeling naughty in the hospital.
Right. That's fair. Like I've been getting text messages. I had a hospital stay a few years ago. I didn't have insurance at the time. I've been getting text messages and they're like, they can't come after you for this debt, but it will continue to be reported on your credit. And I checked my credit and I'm like, it's not being reported on my credit.
Yeah, no, there's 6 companies that think I'm dead. I speak on behalf of me all the time. I'm my long lost cousin who just has a phone now. So yeah. Man, we're doing great.
Now, so the Democratic Party is absolutely not the same thing. So there's the Overton window, of what people believe in a party. And we have like libertarians have it, anarchists have it, Republicans have it. It's the acceptable allowance of what you believe is in this Overton window. And an easy one to use to describe it is like, so you have abortion in the Overton window, and Democrats think abortion's fine. It does not matter. Some of them are going to say, viability, so 24-ish weeks. Others are going to say 9 months, 9 months, 10 months, whatever. Republicans are going to say no abortion for no reason. Then other Republicans are going to say, for rape and incest and in instances where the mom's life is in danger. And then
there is a third type of Republican that's going to say no abortions unless it's mine.
Right. That's Donald Trump.
I know that guy.
Yeah.
Donald Trump, that's my father, that's my uncle, it's a lot of guys in my life.
You're right. And then there's others that are like 24 weeks, like they're 24 weeks and down. Democrats are, typically 24 weeks and, up. Like look, that does not line up right. I just found that out. But that was how, if I go all the way up, you can see my fingers above the.
Okay.
But so like these are the Overton windows, and the Overton window for the Democrats has been slowly shifting further and further left. So where most people, the general consensus of people 25, 30 years ago, if you were pro-choice 25 years ago, it would have been unthinkable to have an abortion at 9 months. Nowadays, people argue, no, that is not a baby until it comes out of you. It does not matter if it's 9 months or 24 weeks or 6 weeks. You can have an abortion at any point.
9 months just feels like a tough time to get cold feet.
Yeah,
it feels like you've built a bond. Look, I'm not a woman. I'll never get the miracle of delivering a child, unfortunately, unless science really develops here. But I feel like 9 months is a little wild to back out.
Right. That seems like I feel like there's another option at that point.
Yeah, wait another month, give it away.
Right.
That feels good. That feels clean.
Right.
that feels less traumatic to me. Again, not a woman. Don't want to pretend like I am.
Yeah, that's why I don't talk about it much. Like I'm just saying what the different aspects are. Like that's all. Yes. That's all I'm commenting on this one.
It's tough for a man to grasp.
Right. So I see the Republican point of view. I can see the Democrats. I don't understand it, but I see it. And there's that middle area, but the Democrats have been slowly moving. We're moving stuff further and further and further left. Like, I don't know where you line up on gender theory stuff, but 20, 30 years ago, if somebody came up and was like, oh yeah, if I came up to you and was like, yeah, my pronouns are she and her, you would have looked at me like I was insane. You'd be like, no, look at you. You are obviously a male. And then you would just assume that I was gay and that would be it. Like that would, but it wouldn't become like this whole thing of you have to, like if I were to say you need to call me she and her, that conversation wouldn't happen. And now over the last 10 years, that is something that is now in our national conversation. And we have people like Leah Thomas who's swimming in female sports. And you've got biological males now who have transitioned into trans women who are competing in weightlifting and they're competing in track and field. This is not something that anybody would have thought would have been anywhere close to being in the Overton window 30 years ago, but that's where we are now. So
now it's the ovaries window.
Right.
So I don't know if that even makes sense, honestly.
I'll take it.
Right.
I'll take it. So we now have a situation where everybody is, and while the left has been going left, the right has been having to go left to keep up with them. But just enough, which is why now a lot of Republicans are like, well, maybe viability for, initially like many Republicans, no abortion except maybe rape and incest, or in the life of the mother. And now some of them are like, okay, well, the heartbeat is at 6 weeks. So as long as it's before that, it's okay. And then others are like, well, 12 weeks or, the Overton window for Republicans has also moved because the Democrats have moved their Overton window so far in the opposite direction. So neither party is what it looks like that many years ago. And Democrats of the 1960s typically will take a look. Some of them are just like, they're just holding out as hard as they can because they're like, no, I voted Democrat in every election my entire life. I voted for Mondale when he had Geraldine Ferrero, and I voted for Dukakis. I don't remember who Dukakis had, and I voted for Clinton twice, and I voted for Al Gore. And I'm just always vote blue. Like, you have those people, but many of them, if they were to sit down and take a look at the issues that they believed in 1964 and looked at it today, they are not the same party by any stretch of the imagination.
So it's essentially a measure of how far the party is willing to move in order to obtain swing votes from the other party. Like, because the Republican Party can't say no abortions if now the Democrat Party is saying, no, we'll abort them at 3 years old if they cried too much.
Right.
So now we're not going to win any. We're not going to get those votes. We have to say, oh, we'll do 6 months. We'll meet you. We'll meet you in the middle.
Right. Yeah, that's kind of what's happening. So like Roe v. Wade just got overturned, not just, but it got overturned back in Roe v. Wade got overturned not long ago, and you've been seeing the massive fallout for the Republicans on this issue. And they've lost almost every special election. They got demolished in the 2022 midterms. They lost in 2020. And a big reason is because of abortion. And now in states like Arizona, that's Kari Lake, Arizona, right?
I want to say.
Yeah, okay. I was like Arizona and New Mexico. I always kind of get mixed up. But Arizona the Supreme Court just said, nope, this law from 1864 is valid. So that means anybody who provides an abortion, 2 years in prison. And so Donald Trump's like, no, we need to overturn that law. And Kari Lake, who supported the law 6 months ago, is now saying, nope, we need to overturn this law. And we need to go back to make sure that the safety of the mothers and that if, in cases of rape and incest, and make sure that it's at least before viability. So they've shifted their entire Overton window in order to make sure that they don't lose elections. And pro-life Republicans are pissed off about it. But the gamble is that you're going to be able to get enough Democrats who are going to come over because they are tired of being broke. They're tired of the funding of Ukraine. They're tired of the funding of the different wars. They're tired of the people coming over the border. They're tired of inflation being just absolutely insane. They're tired of they're hoping that the people who are the one-stop abortion voters will go, viability, we can start there.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. So, but that being said, back to the third party candidates. What I saw, like I worked on Johnson's campaign in 16. I worked on Jorgensen and Cohen's campaign in 20 a little bit. A lot of people were saying, yeah, we're going to vote for him. We're going to vote for him. We're going to vote for him. But the numbers didn't match up to the number of people that said, yeah, we're going to vote for him. Because so many people get cold feet when it comes to the time. They show up to the voting booth and they're like, I'm going to vote for RFK.
Was he on 50 ballots? Was Johnson on 50 ballots?
Yeah.
And so RFK Jr. will not be. Is that right?
Yeah, probably not.
Do we have a number?
Not yet. So he still has until, I think, August, depending on the state, like August 15th.
And that's always been state choice?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's always been state choice. Yeah, so different states have different...
That's the way it has like this in my life, I don't think.
Yeah. So different states have different guidelines for getting on the ballot. So Tennessee's is awful. Like the Republicans and the Democrats, you're just on the ballot if you get 100 signatures. If you are a third-party candidate, so if you're, RFK... or if you're RFK, if you are, libertarian, if you're Green Party, whatever, you need to get I think it's 75% of the total number of votes that the governor got in the previous election. You need to get 75%.
That's
signature-
crazy. They wanted a landslide victory.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. That's what they do in order to keep people off of the ballots. And different states have different things like that. Here in Florida, you have the option is 10,000 signatures. I think it's 10,000 signatures or $10,000.
On the Declaration of Independence is, and I don't know if you know this at the top, but don't, is the word democracy defined?
So no, because we don't live in a democracy. We live in a constitutional republic. And it's because we all have, and I actually have the Declaration of Independence right there.
Big fan. Good read.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, I got
Actually,
I got Thomas Jefferson right here.
Dude, I can, if I may, I happen to have a Hancock right on my thigh there.
Oh, that's amazing.
Am I showing the right thigh? I don't know if I'm showing the right. Do you see it?
Yeah, I see it. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, when he wrote it, when the Declaration of Independence was written, that was to make sure that we were going to get rid of, that we were leaving England, and we're like, no, we're not part of you anymore. We want to live in a country where all men are created equal. And then they wrote the Constitution, and what they wanted was that there would be one federal government that would basically make sure that treaties between states. So like if South Carolina wanted to trade with Virginia, like somebody would be there to kind of negotiate that treaty to make sure that it was fair. That was basically all the federal government was going to be for. After we gained all of the other nation, and it was supposed to be 13 separate separate nation states that were all under the same umbrella. That's why we are the United States of America, and each state is going to be able to run their state kind of the way that they want to, which is why some people have we have a Florida House of Representatives, some people have a legislature, all of them have senates, but the way they do the Senate, they got to decide how all of that was done. And then that goes all the way down. Some people have townships, some people have cities, some people have, towns, areas, whatever. So they said, you can run your state however you want. We're going to do, you're going to be able to send people. The people who are supposed to be in the House of Representatives were supposed to be there for like a term or two. They're supposed to go, it was supposed to be like a kind of military duty.
Yeah, so politician was supposed to be a career.
No, it is like, this was like your duty. You were going to go, you were going to spend your time up there. You're going to fight for what the people in your neighborhood wanted. And then that was it. And then you were going to come back home and you would tend to your crops or whatever, tend to your business. And you were going to end up, you do it for a few times and then be like, okay, I'm done. Or you would be really well liked. And the governor,
hey, some could argue the Trumpster is practicing this.
He is. He's practicing it well.
He lived a full life before this, and I think he's going to live a full one afterwards.
I agree.
I mean, as long as he stays outside of penitentiary, the man's going to be okay.
Right, and that's good. That's the issue, is whether or not he stays out of the penitentiary.
Right.
Sorry about this. He 100% does not have to go outside. I know what he wants, and he wants to go somewhere that they give him treats. And
dude, you're good. I got two of them.
Yeah. Hang, give me 1 second. I'm gonna get him a treat because hopefully he'll stop doing that for a minute.
Do your thing. Good.
Yeah.
Right.
Sorry about that.
No, you're good.
Yeah, I take him to the dog park before these things, and I have him run around and do all that kind of stuff. And he there wasn't as many people at the dog park, so he was just kind of being super lazy today. And I was just like, man, you're gonna have so much energy.
Dude, my entire day is bullied by two dogs, dude. You don't have to explain yourself to me.
Yeah.
I get it.
But yeah, so so many people end up they become so afraid about what will happen if they don't vote for, Biden, or they don't vote for Trump. And they're like, can I risk throwing my vote away on an RFK or on whoever the libertarian is going to be, or, Jill Stein, who I think is running for the Green Party, or Cornel West, who's running, I think he's running as an independent as well. So I think that people end up getting cold feet, and they end up just walking away. And they end up walking away from voting for third party because that's what they feel is best for them. And that's why people will poll, like your RFKs will poll at 15, 18, 20%. And then once time voting comes in, since Ross Perot, nobody has beat 3%.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
What was the year on Perot?
92.
92. I don't know if you know from the top of your dome, wasn't there a guy in 2000 that made a splash in that election?
Ralph Nader ran in, yeah, he ran in 2000, but I think he may have done 3.5%.
Okay.
Yeah, but people were pissed off. A lot of Democrats, especially progressive Democrats, were pissed off at Clinton because they thought that he didn't go far enough left. So they said, as a protest, we're going to vote for Nader. And that protest vote, and what I have on relatively good authority, some could call voter fraud here in Florida, gave the election to Bush.
Interesting. Yeah, because I mean, and that's what drives like the narrative of if you don't vote, you're voting for the winner. If you vote independent, you're voting for the winner. And I can see how people can back down from that.
Right.
Because your fear is, I don't know, man. That's the thing. If everyone just did a throwaway vote, it wouldn't be a throwaway vote. But there's also, I feel like, the general fear from the public that if an independent I mean, how much power do these parties have, these Republicans and these Democrats, to just, take it away?
Yeah, all of it.
To just not let it happen if an independent party member were to win.
Right. And so the question that I've been bringing, I brought this up to so many Republicans recently because no Republican can fathom the idea that Trump is going to lose this election, which I understand. The economy sucks. The economy sucks. We're, according to media, we're on the brink of World War III. We've got hundreds of thousands of illegals coming in across the southern border like every year. Things are not great. Like, and everybody's feeling the pinch, and I get it. But I was like, okay, could you believe that he lost in 2020? And they said no. And I said, okay, so you think that there was voter fraud in 2020? And they say yes. And I said, okay, well, the Democrats think there was voter fraud in 2016. 2012, nobody really argues that one. 2008, Republicans were saying that McCain got shafted. There was voter fraud. 2004, the Democrats said that there was voter fraud. 2000, obviously there was, some semblance of voter fraud, and the Supreme Court ended up picking George Bush to win. We have not had a presidential election outside of 2012 since 1996 that hasn't been marred by some semblance of voter fraud. Why do we still trust the process?
Yeah, I mean, do you know when mail-in votes had that? I mean, there's no way those were always a thing. You went mail-in into. Right?
No, I don't know when they started. I know
that. I mean, that was the
big one.
For 2020.
Yeah, and that was it was because of COVID.
Okay.
Like, mail-in votes were a thing, but they expanded them. A lot of states expanded the ability to use them, and that's where a lot of the fraud happened. And I'm doing that because there's fraud in every election, obviously.
Right.
But that's where they say the fraud happened, is because they took advantage of the COVID rules in order to steal that election. That's the Republican argument. Probably. I mean, I'm not going to say it happened. I'm definitely not going to say it didn't happen, because I stayed up all night. I was up till 5 a.m. watching stuff on that election, and I watched when in Wisconsin when Joe Biden took 100,000 point or vote lead at 4 o'clock in the morning. And it was just like he was down, and then he shot up. And it was like
Yeah, I feel like
everybody,
I went to bed and Trump was winning, and then I woke up and it was
and it was
Biden
over.
was our
Yeah.
president.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
crazy. I was awake when that happened, and I was like live tweeting it, and I was just like that. And I was like, I must be tired. That can't be right. And then it was still
Yeah.
there the next day. Yeah, it was nuts. It was
Wow.
nuts. I need to get out. That is actually the time I'm gonna have to get out of here, especially because I do think he actually has to go to the bathroom. But
Yeah.
I know this. I know you got a show coming up this weekend. Where's your show?
This weekend we're at Monk's Jazz Club right here on the east side of Austin. You can get your tickets at Monk's Jazz. I'm also at
That's one
Sunset.
man. That's
What's
one place
that?
I wanted to go there when I was in Austin, and I never got around.
Dude, brother, please let me know when you're coming back, dude. We'll get you into every show, dude. We'll get you to every venue, man. Let me know when you come back.
Oh yeah.
I'm at the Sunset Strip every Friday and Sunday. You can see me there as well. Also, check out the Captain's Dogs. Thanks for having me, brother.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah. So everybody check out the Captain's Dogs. You can get it on all your major podcasting platforms. It's also on YouTube. And follow him there. And you can follow him on Instagram at Matty Stu Comedy, just as it says right under his name. Very funny comedian, good dude. Enjoyed talking to him when I was in Austin. Couldn't wait to have him on. Glad that he is here and now part of the Muddied Waters family. And I look forward to having him on again at some point in the future.
Would love to, man.
Yeah. For everybody else, tune in next week. I've got a brand new guest coming on. I know that I promised Dave Landau a couple of weeks ago. Dave Landau is supposed to be on next week. So fingers crossed that one comes through. And if not, there will be a live episode where we talk about current events. And until then, remember where we're going. We don't need roads.